Alright, so I've made this video for all the singers in the Scottish Night Choir. And the reason is I'm very, very keen, and I know you are too, to produce the best possible performance at Scottish Night. And when I say I'm keen, maybe the right word is fanatical. I really want this to be the best we possibly can be. Now, last night we did a sound check in the auditorium, and I got a chance to see what the choir looks like up there on the stage. So about half the choir was there. And what I saw was 8 faces rather buried in the music like this, reading the music. And I want to see if we can rise up to a higher level of communication with the audience. That's the purpose of this video. My understanding is that the choir members are mostly not actually reading the music. You know the music by now. You're reading the words. And that's what I want to talk about now. I want to say 3 things about memorizing words. The first is, it doesn't take that long. It's not that difficult. The second is, it goes better and faster if you have a workable method for learning. And I'm going to cover that in this video. And the third thing, I've already said it, the quality of our product will be vastly better if even half the choir can memorize the words. All right, so let's get on with it. And I just want to say that I spent quite a bit of time and work producing this video. And at the end, I'm going to ask you to please do some work back in exchange. The first step is we're going to clear all the funny Scottish words in the 2 songs. Let's start with the Dark Island. Here is Scotland. It's up there in the top left corner of Europe. And the northwest of Scotland is an area of islands and mountains, legends, and the last speakers of the Gaelic language. When I was in my teens, we went up for a holiday there, and the people were speaking Gaelic as their first language. Also, when I cycled around the northwest in the 60s in my teens, the main roads, the main highways between the towns were single-track roads. And I don't mean one track in each direction. I mean just one track. When 2 cars were going in opposite directions, one of them had to get off the road so the other one could go past. Primitive times. The islands out there are called the Hebrides. And the Scottish people have a feeling of nostalgia for the Western Islands. The Dark Island was a 6-part drama made for BBC television in the 1960s, and I remember watching it on TV. Unfortunately, the film has been lost. The island it's set on is called Benbecula. So the Dark Island is Benbecula, and here it is. The music we're singing was written as the theme for the television drama. Oban is a port on the west coast of Scotland. It is known as the gateway to the Isles, as it has steamships sailing from Oban out to many of the Western Islands. The company that owns and operates the steamers is called McBrain's. McBrain's steamers are a very common sight off the west coast of Scotland. Tiree is an island just off the coast from Oban. A steamer is a steamship. Steamers are used to carry passengers and freight around the islands. And here is some heather. The Scots are very proud of their mountains, which are largely covered in purple heather. Alright, now on to the song Mary's Wedding. Arm in arm and row on row. Here is a row of people linked arm in arm. If there were another row of people behind them, like there might be at a wedding, they would be walking row on row. Myrtle Green. Here is some myrtle. Bracken Brown. Bracken is very common in Scotland. It looks a bit like a fern, except it's hugely bigger. It can be as tall as a man. And it goes brown in the winter, so you have bracken brown, or in other words, brown bracken. A shieling. It's a roughly built hut in a remote area for pasturing animals. Rowan. Rowan trees are very common. There was one grew just opposite the house I grew up in. And the rowan tree has bunches of red berries, which are very handy for kids because you get a bicycle pump, you put a red berry in the end and you get your opponent in the face. Plenty herring. The herring is a fish caught in the North Sea off the coast of Scotland and England. Plenty meal. Meal is coarsely ground grain. The most common one in Scotland is oatmeal, which is the basis for the traditional Scottish breakfast of porridge. Plenty peat. Peat is partly decomposed vegetable matter. It's used for burning as fuel, and these days also for gardening. And I remember a program on TV in the 60s which showed people with unusual occupations, and there was one about a peat digger. He had a sort of angled spade, and he was expert at cutting the peat, so the bricks all ended up the same size and shape. Creel. A creel is a wicker basket carried on your back, like you can see this woman carrying. She doesn't seem very happy about it, though. Plenty bonny bairns. Bonny is a Scottish word meaning beautiful, and a bairn is a child, and here is a bonny Scottish bairn. Alright, so I've done my work preparing all that. Now it's your turn. I'm going to show you the method I use for learning words of a song or a poem. My objective is to know them so well that all my attention is out there on the audience. I have no attention on what are the next words. No, it's all communication to the audience. And we're going to take Mary's Wedding. I'm going to work on learning the words of the 3 verses. I take the first phrase and I read it. Over hillways, up and down. Then I say it to a friend, or you can say it to your cat. And if you don't have a friend or a cat handy, say it to a wall. Over hillways, up and down. Over hillways, up and down. Okay, I've got that. We're going to read the second phrase. Myrtle green and bracken brown. Myrtle green and bracken brown. Myrtle green and bracken brown. Now I'm going to say both phrases one after the other. I'm going to read it over. I can't remember the first phrase now. Good. Over hillways, up and down, myrtle green and bracken brown. Over hillways, up and down, myrtle green and bracken brown. Over hillways, up and down, myrtle green and bracken brown. Got it. Read the third phrase. Past the Sheelings through the town. 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 Over hillways, up and down, myrtle green and bracken brown. Past the Sheelings through the town. Over hillways, up and down, myrtle green and bracken brown. Past the Sheelings through the town. And then there's a fourth one, all for the sake of Mary. All for the sake of Mary. So then, by that time, I can do the first verse. Then I go on to the second verse, do the same. Take the first phrase. Cheeks as bright as Rowan's are. Cheeks as bright as Rowan's are. And so on. I could do the second verse. Then I do the first 2 verses all the way through. Then I take the third verse a phrase at a time, and then all 3 verses and the chorus. I think if you find you approach it this way, it doesn't take that much time, and it's not that difficult. Another important part of it is you don't wait until the day before a performance to start memorizing, because you won't have it solidly enough when you come to do the performance. Do it now, like a week or 10 days before the performance. And then every day as you're driving your car or you're in the shower, just go over it again. Alright? Remember, the objective is that you know it so well that you're not thinking over hillways, up and down, myrtle green and it's over hillways, up and down, myrtle green and bracken brown. All your focus is outwards. Alright, good. So, I just wanted to say again that if even some of the choir, please you do this if you can memorize the words and not have to have a sheet, will vastly increase the quality of our performance. And I just wanted to say thank you for all you're doing. Thank you for putting up with me, and I'll see you on Sunday.